Da, da, da.
Keep the plate in the dark. Fingerprints on porcelain white. A hollow bell in my chest and a jaw that never sleeps. I taste the room too fast. Every corner turns to need. The mirror swells my name, then bends it into green. Feed me slow, feed me deep. Something warm, something complete. I hear the forks like rain.
Close that. Keep that open for now.
Black velvet appetite. Black velvet appetite. I take till the shape won't fit the night. Black velvet appetite. Black velvet appetite. Hold me down, hold me tight. I'm a feast that learns to bite. My coat pulls at the seams. My hands grow soft and pale. I drift through rooms like smoke, then sink where cravings trail.
Okay. Where were we on this?
On every prayer, I wear the weight like fog, a slow and sacred snare. Feed me slow, feed me deep. Something warm, something complete. I hear the forks like rain behind my ribs, behind my teeth. Black velvet appetite. Black velvet appetite. I take till the shape won't fit the night. Black velvet appetite. Black velvet appetite. Hold me down, hold me tight. I'm a feast that loves to bite. The candle bent, the table grown. I am a room of hungry bones. No end in sight, no clean escape. I bloom in dark, I widen, I chill. Black velvet appetite. Black velvet appetite. I take
he's doing it though. That's what he's doing.
She wants more. Her pulse gets low. Her dress says no. More. She wants more. The seams go thin. Let it all in. Seeds on, seeds on. Blue girl, keep going until the bones are gone. Seeds on, seeds on. Stretch me wide till I'm soft enough.
The funny blue lizard is back.
Red buttons fly like teeth on the floor by her bed. She reaches for the gravy in the cold sweet pie. Her belly blooms heavy like a moon in the sky. Skin goes taut and shining, pale under the bruise. Her boots fall quiet. She's too full to move. More. She wants more. The hunger has a throne. It fills her home. More. She wants more. Every swallow pulls at the seam she wore. Seeds on, seeds on. Blue girl, keep going until the bones are gone. Seeds on, seeds on. Stretch me wide till I'm soft and numb. She tips like a candle, slow and low. All that lace and leather, let go, let go. Her arms sink downward, her lashes close. A velvet blur, a heavy repose. Seeds on, seeds on. Blue girl, keep going until the bones are gone. Seeds on, seeds on. I'm a sleepy blob, and I'm almost done.
Yeah, I hope everyone's doing alright tonight. You doing alright? That's good. Oh yeah, there are tons of monsters that don't get much attention. Like, you could do a whole channel just based off of that. It's like, oh, for this stream we're drawing Ghost in the Attic. Or like the gross ghosts of fled dreams or whatever else. Oh, you had a bad day? Hopefully you can just chill. Watch me draw thick goth thighs for a few hours. Or a couple hours. Hopefully that'll cheer you up. You'll hear no complaints from me. Yeah, exactly, the Karibo lookalike. Realistically, the view should be longer, but whatever. She is more on the shorter side. For me, that would be Wadapon, because only real men use Wadapon. Ta-ta. It would be cool to draw more like toon versions of other monsters that are most likely not going to get toon forms. Like the gods should probably have toon forms, or at the very least, there should be like toons that are there should be like god toons, like I'm not saying there has to be like a toon Slifer, Obelisk and Raw, or like toon Wickeds or toon Sacred Beasts or anything like that. But there could be like toons that, or like the toons could have their own gods that were like created intentionally to attempt to counter the god cards. Like maybe not like outright win lore wise, but like have like a chance, which is probably what Toon Ultimate Dragon is probably meant to do. But it would be interesting if Toons had their own like categories of god cards. Yeah, Toon Saphira would be cool. I wanted to draw Saphira. I had her on my to-do list for like a long ass time. Maybe I'll try to draw her at some point. I don't know if, in what way, whether it be like Fat Lovers Club or something else. But would be fun to do at some point. but I specifically like the dragon version of Saphira. Is it Saphira that I'm thinking of, or Sophie? Now I gotta check that, because I might be thinking of a different monster. Yeah, okay, yeah, it is the right one that I'm thinking of. I'm thinking of the dragon one. Because there's like, what, 3 or 4 different versions of her now? I think this leg I can pull out just a little bit more. Probably about right here. Hello, hello, welcome. Even if they've done tunes of characters already, like fan art and all that, it doesn't mean you can't draw them still. Have like your own take of it. But yeah, I think there should definitely be like a god card, or at least one like god tier tune. Could call it like Toon God or Toon Lord or whatever. Give it some like ridiculous name. Could even call it Toon Pegasus as like a nod to Pegasus, but like make it like a actual creature. Like, it doesn't have to be like an actual Pegasus. It could be like something else, but it's called Pegasus. Yeah, there's quite a few monsters that you just see what they can do or see how easy they are to summon with their ridiculous effects, and you're just sitting there going like, this can't be real. Because you'll have monsters that are like nearly impossible to summon that have like okay to shitty effects. And then you have monsters that are like super easy to summon and they have like the most ridiculous broken effects, and you're just like, okay, the balance for this game is completely sideways. It just doesn't make sense. It's like if there is a balanced team, they are not doing their jobs right. And I think as at a certain point, I mean, Yu-Gi-Oh's gotten to a point where balance is kind of like out the window already. Because there's no real way to balance the game at this point. Unless you specifically ban a shit ton of cards and then build on the philosophy that certain cards work a particular way now. Kind of like what they were doing in Rush Duel, where a lot of effects for cards send cards from the graveyard to the bottom of the deck, or sending the top cards from the deck to the graveyard for cost, and not a lot of cards trigger from the graveyard anymore. In Rush Duel, at least not the ones that I'm aware of. I'm sure they've probably added something by now. But yeah, there's like the only way to balance the game would be to reset it in a soft reset, and have to work in a very specific way. But I don't think that's happening anytime soon. Hello, Frost. Nothing much, just working on this picture for the stream. Oh, really? DDD Cursed King? I'll have to take a look at that one. Don't think I've really looked at a lot of DDD artwork. Let me get a better look at him. I mean, I guess, yeah. I would think they would make him look a little bit closer to Reggie or Reggie. I think that's how you say his name. I still wish they didn't drop a lot of the plot, a lot of like the plot stuff that they were setting up for Arc 5. Because I think Arc 5 probably would have been one of the best Yu-Gi-Oh! Seasons if it hadn't have dropped the ball in like key spots. It's still a good season, but there's only like story-wise, the ending was shit. And then I don't like the final villain because they took all that time setting up Zark and then they don't even use him. It was like, oh cool, a character we're not gonna see. Who had like the better setup.
Stay at the table, blue hands in the dark, black lace on her shoulders, torn at every spot. One bite then another, her hunger has a face. She chews
This
in a ruined, crowded place. Her ribcage starts listening, her skirt starts to strain. She swallows the whole tray like rain in the vein. More, she wants more. Her pulse gets low, her dress says no. More, she wants more. The seams go thin, let it all in. Sweet song, blue girl, keep going until the bones are gone. Stretch me wide till I'm soft.
Yeah, it just made no sense. Because the whole point was that Zark split into 4 identities in order to prevent him from making things worse in the other worlds and thus or from like returning the worlds back into one and all that stuff. And then we have all this back, well, like not all, but like we have like a decent amount of backstory where Zark was like a very skilled duelist who accidentally caused harm on another player, but because the crowd liked it, he kept doing it. And thus, you know, the game became more of like a fucking brutal sport. And then things got worse because the more the crowd gave him praise, the stronger he got in terms of like, you know, whatever spiritual inner strength he was gaining and stuff like that. He became virtually a god. And so we have all that set up. We have the whole, you know, Yuya absorbing Yuto. We have Yuhi absorbing Yugo, and then the final duel between, you know, Yuhi and Yuya, and then Yuya finally absorbs all of them, and then we don't even get the real Zark. We get monster Yuya, and I'm just like, are you fucking kidding me? And then, to make matters worse, they just did the same fucking Winged Dragon of Ra bullshit thing that Merrick did, where he fuses himself with the monster. And it's just like, dude, we did this 4 fucking times. Like, they have, like, no... Like, whoever comes up with that kind of idea has, like, no... Like, I don't even know if it was, like, Kazukiya Takahashi who came up with that, but it was, like, I can't imagine that he would do the same idea that many times. Like, if it was him, I would have loved to have questioned that at the time. But if it wasn't, whoever came up with that was just like, we have no better idea than to just put Monster Yuya on the top of the head of the Zark Dragon and then call it a day. I was like, really? That's it? That's all we're gonna do? Like we made a whole other character and we're not even gonna use him. And then they should have gone to a dimension where, since they were already dimension hopping, they should have went to a dimension where other summoning methods weren't even a thing. It should have just been like basic Yu-Gi-Oh, but without like fusions or basically without the extra deck or rituals at all. And see how the characters would have reacted to that. Like, that would have been interesting. It wouldn't have been a big deal, which is likely why something like that would not have been used in the story anyway. But I think it would have been an interesting, like, little couple episodes. Like, I mean, we spent such a shit ton of time in the Synchro dimension. They could have spent, like, 2 or 3 episodes on, like, a world where summoning methods wasn't even a thing. Because there was a point in the actual Yu-Gi-Oh game where sacrificing was not a thing, so they could have done that. They could have made that like a nod to like the earlier version of Yu-Gi-Oh, where the level system wasn't a thing yet. Yeah, actually it was 5 times that they did that because Ubel does it too. And the only reason why 5Ds counts is because they did it with Paradox. I don't recall it happening in Zeal. It's been a while since I watched Zeal, so I might have forgotten. But I don't recall it happening in Zeal. I think Zeal is the only one that didn't do it. Yeah, like the whole point of the levels at the time was just like, oh, in terms of classes of monster, this monster's this powerful. Even if, like, you know, you have like 7-star Dark Magician with 6-star Summon Skull and they both have the same attack power. But that's not the point. It was like, oh, and by this class of monster, that's how powerful it was, or something like that. But yeah, it would have been interesting if they had gone to a world where, like, the extra deck in Rituals was not a thing yet. But that's neither here or there. But seriously, though, with the whole being mounted on top of a monster's forehead thing, I was like, dude, we had a whole other character and we opted to do this. Like, even if they were going to still do that idea, they still should have used the original Zark, or like Zark for that, instead of Yuya. Like, using Yuya was like the stupidest idea. And then making him look all monster like. Like the even him looking like a monster did not make sense. Cause like if it was supposed to be like a representation of the dragon, that still didn't make sense. I was like, why is he a monster? Like they could have did that with Zark. They could have like had Zark show up originally, and then he gets into whatever like whoever duels him first, he gets into that duel, and then it should have been that every time he defeated somebody, that's what would turn him into a monster. The way that Yuya looked, that would have made a hell of a lot more sense, and it would have been like tons better if they had done it that way. It's like if they really wanted to keep the monster idea, they should have made it gradual. I mean, we're already spending like what 5+ episodes on him, so they have plenty of time to set that up. Yuma and Astro. So I mean, yeah, they do the whole spiritual partner thing in pretty much all of them. Because they did it with Judai and technically Wing Karibo, and then later it was Judai and Yubel. So they kind of did it twice. Well, they even did it with his teacher technically, but yeah, they did it with Judai. They did it with Yuma. They did it with Yuya when he absorbs Yuto. They pretty much do it in every season, so that's not a problem. That's like a whole nod to the series itself. So that part's fine, but with the whole like cop out, let's just put the main villain on top of a monster. It's like, man, we could have done something better than this. And if we needed to do it, then they could have did it much better. Okay, anything else I'm missing on you? Oh yeah, your necklace. Like, I like the idea of, like, the main character becoming the villain, but that, at least in the context of Arc 5, it should have been Yuya reverting to his original self and then turning into a monster, because, you know, the more he won, the stronger he became. That would have made a ton more sense. And then as for the whole, like, oh, we need to duel so that way this baby will laugh or smile or whatever, like, there was no point to that. That was a complete waste. Because the whole thing was like, oh, you know, Yuzu and her other versions all combined together type of thing. Like, there was no point to that. At least not in the way of using a baby character. It's like, man, we could have done this so much better. And I think part of it, like, part of the reason why... No, because after Arc 5, it was, Vrains. So the studio stuff wasn't happening yet. I think there was some studio issues during Arc V, but I think it didn't happen until after Arc 5. or Vrains. Vrains was all right. I like the way it ended. I like that in Vrains they had an actual episode of two characters bricking. That shit was funny. And then they both tried to play off as if their hands were perfect. Like, I think that was probably one of the best episodes out of the whole fucking season. It was like, holy shit, we bricked. What do we do? Because, like, I think it was like they bricked, and then they played, like, card destruction or something. And then they got new hands, and then they still bricked. Like, that shit was funny. Oh, really? It got region locked? I did not know that. Yeah, that would suck. Well, luckily the internet exists, but still. I think what sucks more is knowing that the English adaptation is just not as good as the original Japanese version. Because one of the main things I dislike about English adaptations is how they always have to make some, like, idiotic jokes or puns with, like, every fucking sentence. And it's just like, guys, can we not take the fucking story seriously? The way it was written? But no, because they're marketing it towards children, so they gotta dumb it down. Because it's either going to be bad puns, fart jokes, or I don't know. I know there's a third category somewhere, or like weird censorship. And then in terms of broadcasting time, removals of scenes in order to make up for the random commercial breaks that they would have. Because in Japan, most of the shows only have like one or two commercials. Usually it's just one, but sometimes there's like two. But because the English version has like 3 or 4 commercials, they have to like cut episodes and into or remove scenes from episodes. Sometimes with context and sometimes without. Or most of the time it doesn't. I think one of the worst cuts was the removal of Yugi's mom. Because that was like, oh hey, Yugi has a mom. It's like, yeah, no shit. But most people didn't know that because they took the scene out in the English version. And when you read the manga, you see her for a brief moment too. So she wasn't like a critical character, but still. Like, that would just be weird knowing that there's a character missing. Even if she was a minor character. Like, super minor. Yeah, there is like a long... Like, Vrains did feel like a long drag. Not as bad as Arc 5, because there was a point where Arc 5 was like, okay, we're really dragging this out. And that happened during like the Synchro season. But Vrains definitely did have a slow period before it started wrapping up with the AIs. Delicious Dungeon. I still need to watch that. Like, I knew about it when it was a manga, and then it finally got an anime like years later, but I just like fell off of it for a good while. So I need to reread the manga and then watch the anime. That reminds me, I need to check to see if another volume of Interspecies Reviewers is out, because I've been enjoying that. Because I finished reading My Dress Up Darling. The ending was unfortunately, I feel it was like rushed, or just kind of like they just finished it off. It was like, well, there really isn't much left. And I wish they had focused more on the cosplay. But obviously it's a more of a romance, so I understand why they made the choice that they did. But I do wish that that more focus was on the cosplays. At least the last cosplay that they like really focused on was really good with the think it's named Heimno or something like that, the angel. So at least they went on, at least they ended the last cosplay with a bang, because that one was actually really cool and I like the setup for it. The food looks really good. I still need to read or watch Food Wars. Alright, so got all of that. Let's just get the nets put in. And then we can move on to the next part. This is not gonna be pretty, but whatever. I need to catch up on that one witch anime. Forget the name. I think it's like Witch Alteria. I think that's what it's called. I need to catch up on that because I only watched like the first 4 or 5 episodes, I think. It wasn't bad. I just got occupied with other stuff. I am watching X-Men though. Ew, let's fix that. And fuck it. Let's do that. Alright, turn that off so that way it doesn't get. Witch it. Hello, hello. Seven stream streak. Woo! stuff turned off. Thank you. Oh yeah. First, get rid of that. First, let's shrink down this canvas size because we do not need it to be that huge. Actually, let's turn it sideways and see what happens. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I just found out that season 2 of Tanya the Evil came out, so I need to watch that because I like Tanya the Evil. That's cool. Glad you're giving your characters more lore. After stream, I'm gonna go get me something to eat. I need to go grocery shopping, but I think I'm a bit lazy about that right now. Do that later. Now see, the challenge with this character is deciding what colors are important to do the big paint for. Because technically it would be the black. It would be her outfit. That would be the biggest punch in the dick. But it's probably not as bad as it seems. Actually, let's find out. Excuse me. What did I use? Oh, it was the black. So I guess I will switch my choices. Because I guess I did not want to deal with all that. Alright. Then we'll do the blue. Glad I looked that up. I mean, either or probably would have been a pain in the ass, honestly. The blue is probably simpler to deal with. Since I know they left Vegas from some of the characters. I mean, if some of our characters are in there, that's fine. I don't think it's a big problem. Shopping tomorrow, no excuses. We'll see if I have time for that. I'll go once I have all my major stuff done. But no worries, I will get food. I'm just not in a rush for it. And before I leave this, I'm gonna play this one more time. I'll get the mother hen. I hadn't talked to her in a while. I need to. I'll send her a message tomorrow. See what she's been up to. I don't know why I'm making this hard. What do you think will happen if Paramount, Warner Bros., Disney, Universal, and Sony, like what specifically? Like, well, what? Like, you didn't finish the question. Merge? I mean, that's incredibly unlikely. But, I mean, if they did, okay, there's still other companies. We would just have a giant network of shows and stuff like that, and it just kind of boils down to quality. Like, they can merge all they want, but if they're not using their properties efficiently, then it's all going to be for nothing. It's like when Xbox obtain a few Japanese studios, and then they ended up just canceling their games and shutting down the studios. It's like, well, that's billions of or millions or billions of dollars spent to do nothing. So yeah, like it doesn't matter who gets merged or who absorbs what or whatever. If they're not going to use their properties effectively, then all that's for nothing. I mean, look at Nintendo all the time. Like, look how long it took for Nintendo to try to do something with Star Fox again. And even then, all they did was just remake Star Fox 64 for like the fourth or fifth time for some fucking reason. Like they, for some reason, don't want to continue on or make like a newer game, whether or not it continues after Star Fox Command is up in the air, but they can completely ignore Command and just make like a better, more canon story that's better than Command. Like they have a whole shit ton of options, they just choose not to. Or even with F-Zero, they could have made a new F-Zero already. And like the closest we got was F-Zero 99, and that's just a online tournament based game. But yeah, like Nintendo has a very large library of game franchises and stuff like that, and they don't really use them to the best, which is sad because they're totally capable of doing it. They're either simplifying their games now, or they keep trying to do the thing where they're trying to add in something new every game, and like the gimmick is what drives the game rather than the gimmick just being like a supporting factor of the game. Kind of like what they did with the with Paper Mario Sticker Star, I think that's what it was called. And it was just like a whole thing about the fucking stickers and stuff like that. And I was like, dude, did you guys forget what made Paper Mario good? And even Super Paper Mario was like a different take of Paper Mario, and that actually worked out because it was like a platformer, which, you know, is really hard to fuck up platforming. But when it comes to like the main core of Paper Mario, it's like they don't want to go into the deep lore that fans like about Paper Mario characters. So they kept like ignoring that for like a few years. That's why Thousand Year Door is so good. Which reminds me, I need to get the Switch version of that. I also need to make sure that I have all the DLC for whatever games I have already before Nintendo decides to close down their services for the Switch. Because that would suck. No, but they will eventually. I mean, they did it to the DS. The only reason why the Switch 1 has a good amount of life still left in the service is because they're still releasing games for both systems. I'm just saying, get on top of that now, rather than waiting for them to announce that there's gonna be an end of service for the Switch 1 or for the online and all that. Because the last thing you need is be like, okay, cool, the Switch 1's gonna thing, and they're like, oh hey, we're taking it down. Because like we don't know if they would actually announce when they would be doing that, or if they would just do it without saying anything. So better to do it while it's still there than to wait for an announcement that may or may not come. I assume that they would announce it because most companies would, because it would be really fucking stupid to close the service without letting anybody know. But there's always that chance that could happen. Yeah. If there was a monopoly, it would be blocks. Because if there was like a monopoly, then they would control a shit ton of stuff, and like prices of things would be ridiculous. Her spots are gonna be whatever. They can be in whatever position. Because realistically, I do not expect this to be followed 100%. Still gonna try to get somewhat close to whatever I have. Yeah, I know about Saber Spark. I watch his stuff from time to time. Hello, hello. If I were commissioned by Lady Luck Fate, which character of hers would I draw? Twin Mill. Twin Mill's my favorite. Second, of course, would be Fate, but Twin Mill is definitely my first choice. In what scenario? I have no idea. I'll probably keep that to myself in the off chance that I do decide to draw her. Obviously, it'd be weight gain related, but I'd have to think about what the context would be. I need to draw more inflation. I don't have a problem with it. It's just not my go-to. Need to branch out a little bit more often. I do every once in a while, but not as much as I should. That should be enough. Discounts if it involves their characters. Yeah, that could be a decent idea to use. Yeah, fans do that with characters all the time. Like for a few years, there was one guy who kept pairing his characters with one of my Sonic-based characters. So that was a thing for a while. I mean, he commissioned me and I drew it, but it was a thing. And then he would draw fan art every once in a while. I think he made, did he make 3D models of them? I think he did. I don't remember if they did or didn't. I want to say they did. But I know they made fan art. I saved some of their stuff because it was actually really good. My only problem was just like some of the story stuff at the time when he was telling me about it. Because he was too hung up on having his character be involved with Sonic lore rather than his character standing on its own. But I mean, they can do whatever they want. I just gave my they would always ask my opinion, so that's why I always told them how I felt, or told them like the reality of it. It's like you can establish the character being in the Sonic world all you want. It's just not gonna make the character seem unique, and it's gonna make them just seem like another. Oh, here's the son of Sonic and whoever. And up, what? They got demon powers, and oh, they got power up, and they train, and blah blah blah. It's always the same shonen ideas. And of course, there's always a situation where the character goes somewhere and trains and becomes near impossible to defeat. But I don't know. That's just me. I always feel if I ever make a story like that where the character just becomes OP at some point, I at least want to make it look like they earned it better. Drop something in media. I will look at that after the stream. It's only going to be like another 23 minutes. So I'll take a look at it after the stream. What do you think about the character Nicole Watterson from Amazing Gumball? Great character. She's my favorite from that show. Best MILF. Overpower OC lore just sounds the same to me. It depends on the character, because there are tons of characters that are OP, but if they have like a decent enough backstory and reason to why and how they became OP, then it's fine. And then if the OP character, if there's like more to the OP character than just them being OP, then that's what makes them separated from the others, type of thing. Like Momong from Overlord. Like, he's OP from the very start of the series, but there's like so much more to it, and what he has to do to make it like he's broken, but there's still setbacks for him. And then most of his challenges comes from navigating around his own NPCs that he's in command of, because they've all gained intelligence and can act on their own, type of thing. So he has to like keep up appearances that he knows what the fuck he's doing in this like strange world and stuff like that, because all of his NPCs expect him to take over the world now. So he's kind of like committed to the idea, even though he was making a joke when he talked about it, but they took him seriously. So he's like, shit. It's like, well, I guess I'm taking over the world. And so that's like the major challenge. It's like that, and then the possibility of other characters showing up that are as OP as he is being a threat. So that is how you can make a character who's broken still be balanced in terms of the context of the world. If I were to commission Fate, I think you mean if someone were to commission me to draw Fate. I'd probably just try to stick close to how to her to her look, because that's kind of like her main draw. Like that's kind of like the whole point. Because there's not a lot of detail to Fate, so a lot of the key design would be to probably stick closer to how she actually looks. Obviously, there'd be some style choices that I would make for drawing the character and all that. Probably like the eye. Well, I don't know, because the eyes kind of depends. Kind of depends on what the commission would actually be, because depending on what's being asked would decide what I would do. But probably the eyes would probably be the thing that's stylized, and then of course the rendering and stuff like that. But overall, I'd probably try to stick to her design as close as possible, just because of how simple she is. It's kind of like if somebody were to commission me or anyone else to draw, like, let's just say Timmy Turner from Fairly Odd Parents. Sure, you can draw him in your own style, like however it is you draw and all that, but if you want them to look like the character, then you might want to stick to the reference. But again, it depends on the scenario. It depends on what you're trying to make the character do, or if it's literally just draw them in your style, then you just draw them in your style. But obviously, you want to try to keep certain key features that makes the character the character. So, kind of just depends on the thought process behind it. Oops, wrong character. Don't worry about it. times like that, I'm glad I do not have the entire art program on stream, because then you would have saw some decently sized titties. I have not dabbled in Blender yet. I have Blender downloaded, I just haven't touched it. But from what I remember from 3D Studio... Was it 3D Studio Max that I used, or was it Maya? I want to say it was Maya. From Maya, you have to attach it through the nodes and stuff like that in the wireframe. Those are like wireframe things and all that. It's been a long ass time since I dabbled in rigging. But yeah, you want to attach it that way, but Blender might have a different or easier method. I would say if you're still stuck, try looking it up on YouTube. I'm sure there's someone that's made a video about it. I need to play Power World again. I only played like a little bit when it first was in early access and all that, and they recommend starting over since they completely overhauled the game for 1.0. So that's probably what I'm gonna do. I'm probably gonna, well, I probably don't have to start over because I really didn't go that far. I only did like what, the first 1 or 2 bosses, and that was it. Most of the other times I was just dicking around. So I'll probably just keep it where it is, keep where I'm at, since I didn't do much. But I definitely need to play more of the game. So I need to make time for it. Maybe like Sunday or something I'll play it. Just make it like a day where it's like, okay, I'll play Power World for like 2 or 3 hours. Oh, you're new to Blender. Okay, yeah. So you're just in the learning curve stuff. So you'll figure it out. And sometimes people animate doing like the most bizarre shit, or bizarre methods and stuff like that. So don't think that there's only like one way to do it. If you find the easier way or a harder way to do it, the way you do it is the way you do it. You'll figure it out. And that's part of the fun, is learning. I didn't. I continued where I left off and ended up leveling up really fast now. Oh, is that the hidden character? Or like the character that's in the data? Yeah. Or I don't know. Or like I don't know. I'm thinking of like a unused model. I could be wrong on that one. But if there is a character that's like that, there's probably like a special event that they're planning for that character. I don't know. Like I haven't heard any of that at the moment, but if that is the case, that's probably being saved for like a special event. Well, the sheer amount of UI on Blender is a bit overwhelming. I do enjoy some of the basics. Yeah, I just need to take time to learn Blender. But it's really hard to find that time when I'm working on so many comics and other stuff. Maybe once I'm done with... when I get through some of the stuff that I'm working on and lower the amount of work that I'm doing, then I can probably make time for it. But we'll see. Because there's still other stuff I want to do, like World Gates and Buckle and all that. So I'm already overstuffing my plate as it is. Okay, so I think I'm gonna call it for tonight. We got Z's flats done now. Pretty much fine with how she looks. Yeah, she's more cartoony than her AI look, but I like it because I like drawing her. Yeah, I can show what she looks like in the AI real quick. Where are you? Just want to show her basic look. I think that's the bad one. Let's pick this one. So yeah, here's her AI look. Put her over there. And her gigantic thighs. Or maybe move her over here, since we can see her a little bit more. There we go. So yeah, that's how she looks with her typical model and all that. But I like the character. I've been having fun with her. But yeah, so I'll call it for tonight. Tomorrow we'll work on doing shading her and all that. And I don't know, I'll probably put her in like one of the settings from the city that she's from. But yeah, hold on, let me read some more chat before I sign off. It's the final boss fight, pal. It's the coolest thing. Oh yeah. I've seen it. There's probably gonna be like a special thing to get the character. So yeah, I think that makes sense to not have the final boss be available right away, because it could be like the Mew of the series, where like they might release like DLC where you journey to get that pal. So that actually makes sense. So yeah, I would say it will become available. just not right now. It'll probably be like a way later scenario where it becomes available. Like, it might even be like, okay, we're gonna make a bunch of DLC for a while, for maybe like however long, and then they'll finally release the character. Like, let's just assume that they decided, hey, we're gonna stop making stuff for Power World, and maybe they'll work on like Power World 2, or which doesn't make sense given the setting that they have for Power World 1. But let's just say hypothetically they're gonna stop making more Power World stuff. That would probably be like their grand finale. They would make the final boss available. So I would just say hang tight and wait and see what happens, and we'll find out from there, because I'm pretty sure they'll make that POW available, just not right away, because obviously it's the final boss. You want to wait for a while. Because with Pokemon, it was different. Like, even though Mewtwo was technically the air quotes secret boss of the game that you could catch, it wasn't like a main thing. It wasn't like a major character that's like, oh my god, I gotta get this. It's kind of like what happens with how Shadow Mewtwo wasn't available for a good while until a little bit later. They made him available. Or was that the case for Pokken? It's been a while. I can't remember if he was available from the start or not. It might have been regular Mewtwo. Or either or. I can't remember which. Kind of like, or I would say Dark Lugia. Or Shadow Lugia. Like, you would have him on your party, but once he was purified type of thing. But yeah, I would just say wait. And they'll most likely be available. But I have seen that design. It does look sick. I wanted to make a scary version of the talking Hank called Talking Harold. I have no idea what any of that is. But yeah, anyway, thank you everybody for coming. I will stream again tomorrow around the same time. Yeah, we're just gonna go on to finishing off Z. I'm still working on Patreon stuff, so and the next collector set and all that, so that'll be out as soon as it's ready. Yeah, I hope you all have a good night, good day.